In this demo, I will show you how to set up VirtualMetric DataStream. I will start from scratch, and this demo ends when we see log data flowing from a Windows machine, going through the pipeline, where the data is filtered, normalized, and parsed, and correctly sent to the Microsoft Sentinel destination. First, I will apply for a free trial of VirtualMetric DataStream. I will now fill in the required information. As you can see, a verification email has been sent, so I'll check my inbox and wait for it to arrive. So, here it is. I'll click the link, which will complete the verification and take me to the DataStream login page. The screen shows steps to make your onboarding simple if you want, like guiding you how to install a director, which is the running process, how to add a new device and a new target, and more. But before I do so, first I'd like to enable DataStream for Microsoft Sentinel via the Content Hub at security.microsoft.com. In the Content Hub, I already did a search for VirtualMetric. I'll select the DataStream for Microsoft Sentinel, and in the right menu, at the bottom, I'll click the Install button. After the installation is completed, I select the DataStream for Microsoft Sentinel again, and click the Open Connector Page button. On the right side, I open the Azure Deploy Infrastructure menu item and click the button Deploy to Azure. This will take me to my Azure subscription for further configuration. Here, I fill in the required information. I've already prepared an analytics workspace with Sentinel enabled, so I will use that one, and also give the DCE and the DCRs, which will be automatically created, a name. Now we've finished the deployment in Azure. Before we get to DataStream's user interface, I first need to assign the Monitoring Metrics Publisher role to two DCRs that just have been created. I will use Managed Identity for authentication. So let's assign the required role. So, until now we spent around 5 minutes only. We can now return to DataStream's user interface to continue with installing a director, adding a device and a target, and tie them together via a pipeline. Now the fun starts. First, we will install a director. It's an easy job done in just a couple of minutes. I'll give it a name and copy a PowerShell script provided that I will paste and execute in a Windows VM. The installation is done. I will go to the home directory and open a console where we will see all configurations and data collection that will take place in the next steps can be followed. All right, let's go back to the user interface to complete the installation and connection verification. Quite easy so far, right? Now we're ready to select a device. I will use a Windows agent to collect logs at the source. But before I do so, I first want to create a couple of so-called datasets. A dataset is a reusable data collection rule template that defines what data to collect and how to collect it. Each dataset specifies a collection type, Windows event logs, DNS logs, etc., and the configuration parameters for that type. A profile is a grouping layer that composes multiple datasets into a single assignable unit. Profiles allow you to bundle related collection rules and apply them to devices as a set. While I'm talking, I'm creating a couple of datasets. Datasets and profiles have a many-to-many relationship with devices. A single dataset can be assigned to multiple devices, and a single device can have multiple datasets assigned to it. This eliminates repetitive per-device configuration and ensures consistent data collection across your fleet. Datasets and profiles operate at the device layer of the DataStream processing flow. They govern what data a device collects before it enters pre-processing and pipeline stages. Now I'm done adding some datasets. Let's continue adding a Windows Agent device. It's kind of the same process as we saw before when installing the director. Again, a PowerShell script that I will execute on the Windows machine. By the way, you see all configurations that I've applied in the user interface being reflected in the console. Every configuration change is pushed directly to the directors. The agent installation is finished. Let's return to the user interface to validate the connection being successfully applied. Done. Now I'm going to add the datasets that I created before to this Windows agent. Let's go back to the Windows machine and have a look at the open console. You can see log data is already being collected by the agent. The director and the Windows Agent device have been configured and up and running. I'm now going to add the Microsoft Sentinel target. I will use Managed Identity for authentication. For the endpoint address, I need the resource ID of the data collection endpoint, which I can find in the Azure portal. I will copy that ID and paste it as the endpoint address. So done. We spent only around 6 minutes to install the director, adding the Windows Agent as a device, and added Microsoft Sentinel as the target. Now I want to add the Microsoft Sentinel Automation and Normalization pipeline to the system and tie the device and the target together by processing the log data via that specific pipeline. Since there are no pipelines defined in the system yet, I will go to the Content Hub and install the mentioned pipeline from there. I will select the appropriate additional pipelines too that will take care of processing the Windows logs. At the bottom, I configure what targets to use. For this demo, I will stick with Sentinel only. But as you can see, if you want multi-routing, for example, sending all logs untouched to blog storage for compliance reasons, you can do so. Now that the pipeline has been added to our configuration, all data that is being collected via the Windows Agent will automatically be processed by the correct pipelines. This integration pack provides a complete solution for processing and routing various log sources to Microsoft Sentinel, Azure Data Explorer, and Azure Blob Storage as part of the Microsoft security ecosystem. It includes intelligent automated routing capabilities, vendor-specific parsers, and comprehensive ASIM, Advanced Security Information Model, normalization support. Let's go back to the console in the Windows machine and have a look at the messages that appear in there. We see that logs have been collected, processed by the right pipeline, and sent to the defined target. Data is flowing. So the last thing I'd like to do is to see if the log data has arrived in Sentinel correctly. I'll go to the Sentinel page in Azure, select Logs, and enter a KQL query to inspect the content of the security event table. Here you go. We see the logs have been delivered in a structured and normalized way. To conclude, I showed you how easy and fast it is to start from scratch and that we have the security telemetry pipeline up and running. It took me less than 14 minutes. Thanks for watching, see you in the next tutorial, and have a great day.